Today, we're going to talk about glazing with Speedball's new Studio Plus glaze line. This glaze line comes in 24 colors, and 18 of those colors can be fired from cone 06 all the way up to cone 6. 6 of the colors can be fired only at cone 05, 06. Today, I'm going to be using the color Onyx, which is a nice, solid black color. It'll show up really well because I'm glazing on a white low fire cup that I've made. When glazing, it helps to use a really fluffy brush that can hold a lot of glaze. Sometimes these might be described as a mop brush or a good fan brush. These are hake brushes. This is a really good glaze brush because you can get a nice wide band of color, but you really want something that's fluffy like this. Sometimes they can be advertised as watercolor brushes even at your local craft store. You really want a mop style fluffy brush like this just because they can hold a lot of glaze to help you get a nice even sort of coverage of color when you are applying the glaze to your ceramics. With this new glaze line, these bottles are designed to be great for classrooms or community studios and kind of shared spaces. So since the top is a little bit more narrow in that you can't get a brush fully through it, you're probably going to want to have another container, like a palette of sorts, that you could pour your glaze into to be able to easily access it. I find that this helps to kind of know just about how much you're using. It helps you really pay attention to how much is left in your bottle and how much you've kind of poured out. So today I have poured some into this little old takeout container that I have. You can kind of see the consistency of this glaze is a really good, it's not too thin to where it might be watery, but it's also not too thick. So that's going to come into play when we start talking about how many coats of glaze you need to apply. So I would make sure that your glaze has sort of the same consistency. Sometimes you may want to give it a good shake in the bottle. And if you do so, just make sure that you have a finger on top and give it a good shake just to make sure that it hasn't settled or anything like that in shipping, so that if you're ready to pour some out, it's all consistent and even. So with my cup for glazing, you'll notice that the bottom is kind of shiny. That's because I have already applied a wax to it, simply because it helps to have a wax on the bottom, because obviously you don't want to glaze the bottom, because if you glaze the bottom, your piece will fuse to the kiln shelf. And so sometimes doing a bit of wax on the bottom ahead of time and around the foot will help make sure that you keep a clean glaze line at the bottom, which will help for this glaze line in particular, because when used on its own, it doesn't really move. So if you have sort of a jagged glaze line when you're brushing it on, you're gonna end up with a jagged glaze line at the end, because this glaze doesn't really move from where it's put when you're using one color by itself. However, these glazes are layerable. So if I do use two colors right next to each other in stripes without leaving any sort of negative space between them, they may move a bit where these two colors would meet. So it may kind of blend a little bit and create kind of a cool layered effect if that's something that you are going for. But today I'm just going to do black on the outside and then black on the inside to get myself a nice solid coating and kind of show how this glaze brushes on. So I've waxed my bottom and I let it dry, and so I'm ready to go ahead and start glazing. When it's time to start glazing, I always recommend starting on the outside. You could start on the inside if you'd like to, but I like to start on the outside, especially for cups and things, because it's easy for me to hold it like this to be able to get a good full rotation and coverage when I'm beginning to brush my glaze on. So one thing to note about glazing in general, and these glazes specifically, is that you want to do, on average, about 3 coats, though most of these glazes do a great job of being very opaque at just 2 coats. I recommend checking out the Speedball website and finding the glaze listing on the website to read more information about each glaze specifically, to kind of learn a little bit more about its characteristics. So when you're doing your coats, you want to make sure that you brush on your coats in opposite directions. So that would mean I'm going to do my first coat going horizontal bands all the way around the outside of the cup. Then when I'm ready to start my second coat, I will switch to a vertical direction. What that does is in these little throwing lines, there's a little bit of texture on the cup, which may be hard to see on the camera. But what that does is help make sure that I'm getting glaze in every single nook and cranny to really get an even coverage of glaze. So I'm gonna go ahead and get started, and I'm gonna dip my brush, and I'm really gonna get a good coating of glaze on it. Again, you wanna be using a sort of absorbent mop style brush and really load it up with glaze, okay? Then I'm gonna begin brushing on my glaze and trying to get an even coating. You can already see the benefit of having that wax on there because the glaze just beads up off of it, and I can sponge that off later to keep myself a nice, even glaze line at the bottom of my cup. So as I brush this on, I'm going in only horizontal directions. Now, you might think of this like paint, and if it was like paint, you would think, okay, that's one good coat. But I can already tell that that's not one even coat because this spot is much darker than this spot, which means that this spot is taking a lot longer to dry, which means it probably has a little more glaze on it. So I'm gonna go ahead and keep brushing until my whole layer is the same level of dryness. And that's gonna be one good layer. It can be really hard to describe what a good layer is in glazing because it doesn't behave quite like paint and it doesn't really act like ink or watercolor. The moisture in the glaze is being absorbed a little bit by the cup as you are brushing it on. Now, this is all about one consistent color. So I'm gonna go ahead and let that dry. You wanna let it dry between coats to ensure that you're getting good, even coverage. In the meantime, I can tell that I'm probably gonna need a little bit more glaze. So I'm just gonna pour some more in. It's always better to use a little at a time and add as you go than pour too much out, though it's really easy to refill using a funnel if you do pour too much out. So now we're gonna let this sit and dry. Now that this has fully dried, you can see it's taken on sort of a chalky like color. I'm gonna go ahead and do my next coat. So since I did my first coat in horizontal strokes, I'm gonna be sure to do my next coat in vertical strokes to make sure that I've gotten glaze in any nook and cranny and texture that may be shown on this cup. So you'll notice it was much easier this time to get sort of an even level of dryness. So now that this is the same color, it's a consistent level of dryness, I'm gonna go ahead and set this down and let this dry. Now that my second coat is chalky and fully dry, I'm gonna go ahead and add a third coat. Now with this glaze onyx, honestly, you can get really solid opaque coverage with just 2 coats, but I do recommend doing your own testing on your own clay body with 1 coat, 2 coat, and 3 coats so that you can see how it looks on your clay body and to know how many coats you want for your desired effect. Because if you do just 1 coat, you will get some translucency. So if you have a design underneath that you'd like to show through a little bit, it may be a little more difficult with the onyx color since it is a black, but it will be a little translucent. So I always recommend doing a test tile with your own clay body and your own firing techniques just to ensure that you know how this is going to come out. So we could, with this glaze, probably stop here to get a solid, opaque, glossy finish. But for the sake of the video, I'm gonna go ahead and add a third coat just so we can see what that looks like. So since my last coat was vertical, I'm going to go horizontal brush strokes this time. Notice how with these brush strokes, I'm moving fairly quickly and a little bit light. You may kind of create sort of a splatter zone around your cup when you glaze this way, but sometimes that can be beneficial to glaze this way, even if it is a little messy, because it ensures that you're getting even coverage that's going to dry at the same rate, and that ensures that you have a good smooth coat. So now that I've done my third coat, I'm gonna go ahead and let that dry before I begin on the inside of my cup. Since this glaze line can be fired to a variety of temperatures, including low fire all the way up to mid-range, we recommend doing a test tile on your own clay body before firing this glaze on a finished piece. There's a lot of different variables in ceramics, like the makeup of clay bodies and the firing temperatures and even firing speeds and techniques. And it really matters to make sure that you get comfortable utilizing this glaze before you put it on a finished piece so that you can ensure you get your ideal results. The outside of my cup is still a bit damp, but it is dry enough to touch. So I'm gonna go ahead and get started by glazing on the inside. When I glaze on the inside, I always like to make sure that I get the rim, because you may notice I've already got a little bit on the rim here, but I'm gonna put a little bit more because when cups fire vertically like this, gravity naturally is gonna pull some of this away as the glaze turns into a glass. So I'm going to get just a little bit of glaze on my brush. This is a little bit too much. So I'm gonna go ahead and scrape some off on the sides, and then I'm just gonna go through and make sure that I am covering my rim. But one thing you wanna do is if you accidentally have too much glaze on your brush when you do the rim like this, it could create these little bubbles or pools. Sometimes if you have so much, it may even drip down. If that's the case, just make sure that you spread that drip out before it dries in one place, unless you want sort of that drip solid effect, which again, I recommend doing a test tile if that's what you're going for. So now that I've done my rim, I'm gonna go ahead and do my inside. So to start on the inside, I'm gonna go ahead and do vertical strokes. So with my bottom, since it's a flat centered bottom, I am just gonna do a little circle to cover that. And then I'm going to do vertical strokes up my inner walls. Again, just like our last first layer, I've done my full coverage, but it's not even. Do you see how it's drying at very different rates? So I'm gonna go ahead and just make sure that with this first coat, it's all drying at the same rate. So I'm just gonna go over it again and continue to spread out just a little bit of glaze so that it's even and drying at the same rate. So I want it to all be the same sort of shiny color. So that looks better. So now I'm gonna go ahead and leave this to sit and dry. For my second coat, I'm gonna go ahead and switch brushes just because I realized on my first coat that the width of this hake brush is a little too wide for the inside of this cup. It makes it a little difficult to get an even coverage. So I'm gonna swap to this smaller brush that also has a slightly more round shape because I think that'll be easier for me doing the inside of this cup. So since I'm starting with the new brush, I'm gonna go ahead and make sure that I soak up a lot of glaze. And then since I had just done vertical strokes, I'm gonna go through with horizontal strokes now. The horizontal strokes can sometimes be a swirling motion on cups that are sort of close to straight walled like this. And again, much easier with a brush that's a little bit rounder and a little bit smaller. Now, I think I'm gonna go ahead and just clean up my rim a little bit because in my process of doing that, I sort of globbed a little bit more onto the rim. So I wanna make sure that that's smoothed out, especially if this were to be a drinking cup, you want the rim to be comfortable. So now that my second coat is done, I'm gonna go ahead and let that one dry. You may notice that as these are drying, as you go further and further into coverage of the cup, it will take a bit longer to dry. That's just because since the bisque has already absorbed some of the moisture from doing the outside and the initial layers on the inside, it's just gonna take some more time. Now that my second layer on the inside is dry, I'm gonna go ahead and add my third and final coat. So I'm going to pick up some glaze with my brush, and since I had just done horizontal strokes, I'm now going to do vertical strokes. Now that I have good, even coverage of my vertical strokes, I'm going to make sure that my rim is still smooth after doing so, just by quickly almost dusting over the top. Look at how light I'm going, just to make sure that any spot that had a glob gets smoothed out. Now, since I had waxed the bottom and this looks a mess, I'm going to grab my round sponge and sponge off the waxed part just so that it's a clean glaze line. So now, to clean off my bottom, I have a damp round sponge. It's not dripping because I want to make sure I don't introduce any water back into the glaze that I've already painted on here. So I'm just going to wipe across the bottom to make sure the bottom's clean, and then I'm going to go along the side. So there we go. Now I've sponged off my waxed bottom, and I reintroduced a little bit of moisture here in the process, so we want to make sure that that dries out. So now I'm going to let this dry, and I'm going to go ahead and get my kiln ready to load once I'm done with all of my pieces.